Hello, and welcome to Making Creativity Pay, the podcast where we talk to people in creative industries about how they promote and market their work. I'm Dan Barnett, and on this episode I spoke with comedian and podcaster Sikisa. Sikisa is at the Edinburgh Fringe this year with her show Serving Justice. We discuss her being classed as the hardest working comedian on the circuit, her wrestling podcast, and combining all of this with a job as an immigration lawyer. We also talk about her taking part in Stuart Law's film The Debuts, that follow performers taking their debut shows to the Fringe. We recorded this on board the Tattershall Castle, home of Boat Show Comedy Club, at one of Sikisa's work-in-progress shows, so you may hear the odd creak or two. I started by asking Sikisa to give a brief introduction to herself.
Hi, my name is Sikisa. I am doing an Edinburgh show called Serving Justice. That is because I am an immigration lawyer as well as a great comedian. So we are going to be talking about things that we judge, things that I enjoy doing, including watching wrestling. I'm talking about my life and how my life is a bit crazy at this moment in time and whether I deserve my human rights or not. There.
Fantastic. So it's middle of July now, so there's only a week or two to go.
It's a week.
Only a week. So I saw some of your work in progress, not physically, so I saw that you were doing them earlier in the year, and it was Lady Justice then.
Yeah.
When you're picking a name, is there a point of no return, and when you kind of choose what you're going to finally...
So I always pick a name that is slightly, that is like different from the actual title of the show. An idea that will resonate with what the show means, or an idea of the time, because obviously it's a work in progress stage. And then I decide what I'm going to name the show. The show was originally going to be called You're the Problem, which I thought was hilarious. But the powers that be, or like it was disputed that how it wasn't as funny as potentially it could have been. So I decided to go Serving Justice, which is similar to like Lady Justice.
Cool. So we're recording this at a work in progress at Boat Club Comedy.
Yeah.
Club. I've seen you've been doing work in progresses all over the country, up in Scotland, here, then everywhere. You're down in Glastonbury, that's not work in progress.
Yeah.
That's kind of other things. Are you able to kind of enjoy the travel when you do work in progress, or is it you just there, gig, back?
It is there sometimes gig back the majority of the time. Obviously when you're at festivals you don't do that, you're at a festival. But also like it is sometimes good for me to sit on a train and then look at the material, rewrite material, relearn lines, especially new material stuff, or amending some of the material that I've done just so it's in my head. So it's a nice prep time if you want to put it like travel wise. And even though I drive, I don't really like driving on motorways. So the train is quite helpful for that.
That makes sense. So this is your third show? Yeah.
Third.
I watched the so I had Stuart Law as the guest. I haven't gone out yet, but recorded it. I watched his film debuts that you're on.
My nemesis. It's a very good friend, but he's always following me around with a camera.
Yeah. I mean, how did being filmed change how you felt about things? Did it make you think more about everything that was going on, or were you able to kind of in a nice way ignore him?
No, I didn't ignore him. He was there all the time. I'd be crossing the road and be like, he's out over there with a camera. It'd be Stuart Law's. It made me when the film came out, and when you're in Edinburgh, especially when I was debuting, the pressure of the Fringe, especially as I had already done stuff before the Fringe, was quite intense. I'd never done a full run before. It's quite tiring, obviously, and obviously I get to do other shows as well. So having to like mentally and physically be there was quite tiring, but also allowed me to reflect on my experience and just like be like, do I enjoy the Fringe? What elements of the Fringe do I do enjoy? What elements of the Fringe I don't enjoy? And then when the actual film came out, obviously he got me quite a few emotional times during the Fringe, which I think reflects the reality of what us as performers feel. And it is, you do care about your art, and having to be judged on your art is quite sometimes tricky. especially if someone doesn't understand your point of view or where you're coming from.
Yeah. And when you get a review in, I mean, how much of a difference does it make both to you mentally and also in terms of promoting the show between a 3 and a 4-star review?
A 3-star never used to be seen as like bad. Like a 3-star isn't bad. It's just a good average show. But like when you get a 4-star or even a 4.5 or 5, then it kind of changes your dynamic of the show, that you feel a little bit more confident about the show. You feel like that person has understood what you're trying to say. And also it helps promote your show to other people to be like, oh, that person got a 5-star or 4-star. Maybe it's a decent enough show for me to go and watch. So it helps your ticket sales. And I don't have like a massive a massive profile, if you want to put it that way. So I'm not like what you would call an Edinburgh darling or someone that's been like nominated before. So like having to have those reviews in is quite important, especially when they are 4-star.
Yeah. And so in that show, you kind of have your ups and downs, and then they announce the award nominees and all that kind of stuff. And then right at the end, the news kind of comes out that you've got place live at the Apollo. I mean, was that off the back of the show or the show and other things?
It was so no. I think number one, I never thought I was going to get nominated. It was I found out I was on the long list.
Yeah.
But that year was the first year properly that came out of the pandemic, and obviously I don't want to use the word competing because I hate that word, but like it was a lot of us debuting at the same time, and a lot of them are people that I am friends with, and we've all been on the same similar journey in our comedy career. So it wasn't like I had expectations, especially as I know who I am as a performer. I know that it wasn't going to get nominated, but finding out the day after the nominations had come out that I had got live at Apollo was a massive shock. And that came about from, they had seen me do a set in London. And I had just happened to be on the bill. It was very last minute, me being on the bill. I replaced someone else, and the booker had just happened to be in the room. And then he brought the rest of the team up to Edinburgh and had saw my show and decided to, thank you, Anthony, put me on live at Apollo.
Yeah, I mean, how much of a difference does that make? Because I know on your current flyer, you've got live at the Apollo there, because it's a kind of seal of quality, it's a stamp of approval. I mean, has it made a big difference, do you think?
I think when people ask you, like when you say you're a comedian, they ask you, have you been on TV? And you can go, yeah, I've been on live at Apollo, and they know what that show is. It is one of the shows that most comedians want to be on. That's their kind of like goal, if you wanted to be on live at Apollo. So to be able to have that opportunity to do that was a massive thing and a massive shock for me to know that someone had faith in what I did and understood who I am as a comedian.
For this year's show, you said, one thing we'll talk about a little bit later is about social media and all that kind of stuff. But for promoting the show, like you said, yes, it's a week. What are you doing? Obviously, you've got social media stuff, but in terms of on the ground in Edinburgh, what are your plans in terms of posters, flyering, and all that kind of stuff?
So obviously we've got the posters out. I think they came out this week. They've been put around Edinburgh. So the big posters are up, little posters are up. A lot of it is like word of mouth, I think, with audiences. If they enjoy your show, tweeting about it or like put it on social media, telling recommendations. Also like being able to do mixed bill shows, and for people to see you at mixed bill shows and be like, I actually like that performer. I don't know who she is, but I want to go see her our show, is also a great way. And because of the type of person I am, performer I am, I always end up doing way more shows that I need to be doing in Edinburgh. But yeah, so
yeah, as one of the things. Talk about Stuart, the beer mat flipping. So you're going to be emceeing that,
yeah.
And I know you MC at other things. I mean,
I would say it's our third.
You've done it before.
Yeah, our third year's beer mat flipping. At Edinburgh. I think it's our third year. Yeah, it is our third year. Third year of beer mat flipping at Edinburgh. Doing it again at Monkey Barrel. Actually, no, I lied to you. I think it might be our fourth year doing it. Yeah, I think it might be our fourth year. But it's always great fun, and it's chaotic, and no one really knows what's going to happen, and we do it at some of the other massive comedy festivals as well. But it's just a good time, really, and I host it in the only way I know how. I'm the glamorous host, and Stuart is the referee slash organizer. It's his idea. It's his baby, and I'm just there to help be supportive and to cause chaos. But me and Stuart have got a very good banter relationship, so it's really fun to do.
So, like I said, it's the third show. You've already done Live at the Apollo, all this kind of thing. Does it mean that there's, I want to say lower stakes, because obviously you still want to do well, you still want to progress, but does it have a different kind of energy? It's not as, I'm say be all and end all, but you don't have that feeling that it's going to make or break you.
Yes, I think there's a point of, like, I work a lot on the circuit. I gig a lot on the circuit. I think I've already got a decent reputation about who I am as a comedian and the energy that I bring out on stage. So me doing this show was a show where I want to do it for myself and do a show about things that I wanted to talk about, which includes my experience of immigration from the perspective of having an immigrant mum to being in immigration and working in immigration law for the last 15 years. So talking about that, also talking about wrestling. Like, I love wrestling. Wrestling is probably the thing I'm probably most passionate about in the world. And to be able to talk about it for the first time properly on stage, especially since the last couple years I've been involved in wrestling in terms of ring announcing, and that's been the best experience ever.
Yeah. And so, yes, you've got a wrestling-based podcast.
Do have a wrestling-based podcast, Wrestle Club Podcast. Yeah.
I mean, more and more now, two things. One, do you see an outlet for that being as a show? Because I know various other wrestling-based shows have kind of done live events and podcasts in general, more and more live. And also, podcasting's going more and more visual. I know you've done some videos. You've got the one with Ed Gamble, for example, that kind of stuff. Do you see the podcast going more video as well?
Yeah, we have. When we started the podcast, we filmed all the episodes and obviously clicked them up. But there are also episodes live on YouTube that we've put the whole thing out. But I see, because it's you get to see our connection. If it's visual, you get to see our banter rather than just listen to it. So you get to visually see the responses. Like, one of the wrestlers brought their belts to the recording, and so getting to see us hold the belts and play, so those kind of things I think is important. I think when it's visual, it's more engaging.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about things like wrestling, which is the thing with our podcast. Is it's on hiatus at the moment just because we haven't found a studio that records. Studio is time at the moment is expensive, but also rare to find. And trying to get, I do it with 4 other lads, trying to get them all together to this podcast sometimes can be quite hard, even if it's just two of them as well. So trying to find time and space for everyone to do the podcast is difficult, but at the same time, wrestling is weekly. So it's not like I can just pre-record the episodes. Some of them we have been able to pre-record, if we're talking about something generic, like your favorite, the best King of the Rings or the best Summer Slams and stuff like that, or the best WrestleMania moments coming up to wrestling. You can pre-record those, but because wrestling is weekly and things change on a weekly basis, just like life, you have to do it weekly. So that is probably the biggest what's the word I'm looking for? Time.
It's a time sink.
It's a time thing. It's a time thing.
Yeah. I saw, looking through some old interviews and stuff, his headline was that I'm the hardest working act on the circuit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I certainly get the feel from kind of stuff, but I guess you love that. It's most of the time.
Most of the time. I am tired. I'm not going to lie to you. I am tired. But I think I've always had a reputation of being hardworking, and that is something I pride myself on. And that's something that's been ingrained on me since I was a kid. from my mother, because I've seen her being hardworking, so it's kind of just passed down onto me. But in the world that we're living in, growing up, I was told that if you work hard, do your university, go to do studying, all of this, you get good things will come to you. You get money, you get your house, all of this. Is that the case? No. I feel like lied to at times, but I do pride myself as being hardworking, and that quote is true, I would say. Did I give it to the Guardian? Yes, but that's not the point. I think the point is that I said that how that's what people would say about me, and I think it's true. Like, people come up to you all the time and go, "Oh yeah, someone talked about you the other and said that you're a hardest working comedian on the circuit." So like when people say that to me, then I know that's my reputation.
Yeah. And how difficult is it with the day job and a month in August? Because it's not the kind of thing you can kind of, some jobs you can kind of coast a bit and kind of, you know, take it a bit easy, but it's not the kind of work where you can forget about it.
No. Well, it's the same with like it's similar to the pandemic. Like, I worked during the pandemic. Like, you still have to submit people's applications in. There's deadlines with immigration stuff, so you have to still work. And the last 2 times I've been in Edinburgh, I've had them off, so I wasn't working during Edinburgh Fringe. So that was lovely. But this year, unfortunately, I will be working part of the time. So I only work part time, so I will be working from home, and it's also a nice way for just me not to just be in the house, to be honest with you, doing some work, and not have to worry about outside or what's going on at the Fringe. So I shall be working. So if anyone needs immigration stuff happening during the Fringe, let me know. Sure, we'll be working.
You're on at the Monkey Barrel.
Monkey Barrel.
So I had quite a few people who are on there, and it's kind of interesting model they've got where the ticket prices are pretty low and there's still a bucket speech. So I'd imagine, I imagine you've got the bucket speech down.
Oh yeah, I've got the bucket speech down very well. Like, the last time I did it, obviously I do the bucket speech where I sell merch, so it feels like they're getting something in return. So it's not just like, give me money. It's more to do with like, if you give me this, I'll give you this back as an appreciation. I appreciate you coming down. So I sold tote bags the first time I was at Monkey Barrel, as well as postcards of the cartoon images of me that I do for my work in progresses. Is done by a very good friend of mine called John Atfield, and he designed several images of me over the years. So I turned them into postcards and sold those. So the bucket speech is more to do with like, I'm gonna give you a gift, rather than just be like, give me money. Even though I do like money. If you want to just throw money at me, that's fine. And some people donated more than the cost of the tote bag or the cost of the postcards, which was really nice. And I sold out of the tote bags within the first like 2 weeks. So it's nice to know that how people appreciated the show and like, or understand that how we are poor coming up to Edinburgh Fringe. So
it must be difficult something like that, because you don't want come to the end of August and have 500 tote bags lying around.
No, exactly. No, you don't want that. No. When I did the tour, I had extra tote bags, and they more or less all sold out as well on the tour, which was nice as well. And then I gifted some to like friends and family.
Yeah. Talked about kind of in-person promotion. Are you going to do any flyering, or are you staying away from that?
I will flyer at the end of I will fly at, if it's a mixed bill show, if a show that I'm on and I'm hosting. Sometimes it's difficult for me to fly if I'm hosting, because normally when you are hosting, you don't get a chance to run around the corner to go and flyer. So I normally just do a promo bit at the end if I'm emceeing, and I MC quite a lot in Edinburgh, because I'm very good at it. So I do have a flyering team. My producers, Strip Light, got a flyering team, so they will obviously help flyering. So I will flyer if needs must. But I sometimes try to avoid it. I think also it's quite weird me being like, come to my show in my face. This is me. I'm funny. I'm kind of funny. Come see me at my show. I think it's sometimes quite intimidating, especially in Edinburgh when everyone's being flyered.
Yeah. I've spoken to some people, they say they like it because it's almost like crowd work.
Yeah.
And then there's other people, they'll say they'll happily flyer their friend's show.
Yeah.
But they won't talk about themselves.
Yeah. I think it's each to their own. And I think also you can just tell when people are just tired of being fired at. And even though I do like talking to people and engaging with people to an extent, I think when you're exhausted as a performer, having to then fly your show also is another piece of work. So I normally, if it's a day that I know that we're low sales, or like the Mondays, for example, I may just fly out and just like put my head out and be like, come and see my show. Yeah. Sometimes I do it like an hour before my show if I've got like time. And just talk to the team and just help them fly over as well. So yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of online promotion, you've got about 25,000 on YouTube, on Instagram. Are you on TikTok at all?
I am on TikTok. I don't really engage on TikTok, but I am on TikTok. It's not really my generation. It's not really my it's not really my generation. You Gen Z is good for you. That's where you get your therapy and your news nowadays. TikTok, good for you. But I think social media is now another job, and I don't need another job. I have enough. I don't need it. When I started the podcast, I realized this is another job, and I was like, why are you giving yourself another job? You don't need another job. You already do too much. So yeah. I think, but also social media is important, but also social media can be toxic. In terms of your mental health. So.
Are you planning to do much while you're up there? Little vlogs or pieces or anything else like that? Or clips of little bits of the crowd work or stuff?
Yeah, I will try. Like, I do crowd work quite a bit in my shows anyway. So I would try and just record bits of that and put them out. Because I think that's always quite fun.
A couple of months ago now, you recorded a special of your first show.
Yeah.
Is that going to be out soon? And do you know where it's going to go?
Yeah, well, my intention is to put it out on YouTube. Stuart Law's production team filmed it. We love them. And I intended for it to be out by now, but due to like me not having time to look at the video and re-edit it, it will be out. And it's a fun show. It's the best of my both shows and best of my material, if you want to put it that way, over the last like 6 years. And there's some crowd work in there as well, and it's fun. It's the parties and stuff like that. So it will come out, and I hope after the Fringe it probably will come out, or maybe even during the Fringe.
Post the Fringe, like I said, you've got plenty on already, but do you have anything in mind for September to the end of the year, or just kind of take it a bit relatively easier?
Stuff is happening.
Always. Okay.
Yeah. I've got a couple projects that are happening that I cannot reveal because they've not been announced. I'm working on a couple of like script stuff as well. She's booked and blessed. She will say that. How is she booked into 2026? She has no idea. But stuff is happening, and I can't say exactly what, but also personally as well as professionally. So excited about that. But also I looked at my calendar. I was like, oh, you are going to be busy. Yeah. And there was times where I'm like, I deserve to have days off or weekends off. But the hustle never stops.
Yeah. And without wishing to kind of wish your life away, next Edinburgh do you already have to think about, I'm on a 2-year cycle, or is part of you already thinking about next year's show?
I envision this show to be, and this does sound like it's a negative thing, but it's not. I envision the show to be the last time I do a full run at the Fringe. Whether I change my mind or not is a different kettle of fish. I don't think you need to do a full run anymore. It's exhausting. Also, I've got to an age where I'm like, I really like a life, please. And I think with the industry that we're in, you can do other things outside of the Fringe. I enjoy the Fringe, don't get me wrong. There's like me doing beer mat flipping, being part of Stamp Town, doing cabaret shows as well at Edinburgh Fringe is quite fun, and hosting, and just being able to be around my friends and party and just do shows to different audiences and engage with them and learn and grow as a comedian is great. But it's financially expensive. It is exhausting mentally and physically, and the Fringe isn't what it used to be. So Next year, I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I might have a year off. I was there last year as well for 2 weeks. So maybe I just won't go. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. So come and see Serving Justice at the Edinburgh Fringe at Monkey Barrel at 5:50. I have always been and will always be the life of the party. And this show, whilst it's slightly different than the other 2 shows I've done, it's still got energy and the party element to it, especially at the end. So come and see the show if you want to learn something new about myself, or if you want to learn something new about the world and immigration and have a better understanding about it and why wrestling is great. Come and see the show. We appreciate you coming along, and I really hope you have a good time. If you don't come see me, shame on you.
Thanks to Sikisa for coming on to the podcast. You can find out more details in the show notes, including where to find her at the Fringe and online. If you enjoyed this, check out our other episodes with a variety of comedians, musicians, authors, and other creatives. Thanks for listening.